Hey everyone, my name is Saurabh, and welcome to the first episode of BuildFuture, where I interview ambitious people and how they build with AI. Today's first guest is someone who spent 7 years at Jason Calacanis' venture firm talking to thousands of founders, and then he left to go build his own thing. Presh runs the wellness company out of Toronto. He's 4 apps deep, and they are Go Polar for cold plunge and sauna tracking, SunSeek for morning sunlight and vitamin D, Posture AI, which chiropractors are now using with their clients, and Tempo, an AI health assistant that pulls in your wearables, your labs, and everything in between. He's non-technical and shipping all of it with AI. We get into his full workflow. Let's get into it. So welcome to the pod. I'm with Presh, and Presh is the founder of the wellness company. Hi, Presh. Nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. I would love to know about you, some of your background, and what you're working on.
Yeah, thanks, Siri, for having me on. Excited to be here. So I run a company called The Wellness Company, and we make health and wellness apps, primarily iPhone apps right now. Just a quick background, I used to work in venture at an early stage firm for an investor. His name is Jason Calacanis, and spent the last 7 years there. And my day-to-day was like just talking with hundreds of, tens of founders in a day and thousands in a month, etc. And so talked with a lot of founders, eventually got the bug to start my own thing. And I was surrounded by people building all the time. And so just last year, I decided I wanted to start a company and left launch to start the wellness company. And the reason I'm building in health and wellness was mainly because it's just my main passion and interest has always been around health. In high school, it was like bodybuilding and trying to get bigger, and then later transitioned into like running, and now more just like living a healthy, long life. And I wanted to create products that inspire that action and or help you become a healthier version of yourself. So we have a couple apps. One is the first app was Go Polar, a niche app to track your cold plunge and your sauna hot therapy. Then we have SunSeek, which is an app to track your morning light exposure for circadian health and your vitamin D. And then we have a posture app, which helps you get better posture for desk workers and sedentary workers, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
Fix my posture here.
I always have to catch myself too. And then our latest app, which we haven't launched yet, but maybe by the time this is out, it is available. It's called Tempo, and that's our kind of all-in-one health companion app, which brings in all your wearables, your lab tests, any health-related data that you give it. It will have that context of your health, and our goal is to have the most, or have an LLM with intimate health information about the user and give you better insights around your health.
That's amazing. So this is available, or it's being built around the iOS ecosystem. Is there going to be a web app version?
Yeah, so it's all iOS right now.
Okay.
The main reason is, there's a couple of reasons. One is just design and function feels better personally on iOS. Also, iOS tends to, subscriptions on iOS are, I should say, there's more willingness to pay for products on the App Store. The other reason is just like I have an iPhone, and so I want to build on top of that platform, and all my products that I use are generally Apple products, and so just staying in that ecosystem made the most. But for your web app question, I think there's this is something we've been starting to think about. Potentially we'll do one for posture and tempo. The posture, the reasoning for that one is we have a handful, or a growing percentage, I should say, of practitioners and clinics using posture AI, and they use it in the sense of using the app to take scans of their clients. And we've had some inbound requests of like wanting to export those reports into a dashboard view. And so that would be more of like a B2B thing if we go down that route. but it would be a web app version of Posture AI essentially. For Tempo, we may as well, but I haven't thought too deeply about it yet. But I think it would make sense once we bring in more things like the lab testing and third-party testings that we want to include. At that point, it makes sense, I think.
Yeah, that's mainly I'm asking because I would, I've used your stuff a while ago, but I haven't used Tempo. Obviously, it's not launched yet. But then also, I'm sick of using GPT projects to manage all my data. I just want a nice UI, a nice UX as well to just manage it all, and I'm in. In your apps right now, have you been able to tap into wearables?
Yes. So our Go Polar, which is the cold plunge tracking, sauna tracking app, that one was our first app, and we use primarily the Apple Watch. A couple months after launching, we ended up working on a Garmin app. So we actually have a Apple Watch app and a Garmin app. Both of those we collect data from, and while you're tracking a cold plunge or sauna, and then send it into the app. So cold plunge and sauna isn't like an official or registered activity type in both of these wearables, actually. Like any Apple, if you go into your Apple Watch and try to look for a workout, you won't find those in there. And so right now we register them as other workouts if you do them. But we can brand them in the app, right? And so in the GoPolar app, they show up as a cold plunge or a sauna. But in your like Apple Health raw data, they'll show up as like an other activity. But we still use the wearable technology to get your heart rate. The Apple Watch and newer Garmin's have the water temperature sensor, so that ends up being useful for the cold plunging users.
Oh wow!
And we tie in sleep data as well separately, so we see how the user sleeps and then try to make a interesting insight based on maybe how much cold exposure sauna time that they get during a week or month, year, etc. I have a lot of thoughts on Garmin because their developer ecosystem is really, really bad. If you compare it to App Store, which are my only two experiences is the App Store and Garmin Connect right now. But documentation is decent, but there are just so many random things. It's kind of like a legacy system that was built, feels like 20 years ago, and then hadn't been updated. Funny story. When we launched GoPolar on the App Store, on the Garmin store, we got featured, which was cool. And then I had been posting about it on my Instagram on the GoPolar account. And then this guy kept like engaging with it and was like saying like congrats on the launch, etc. And then I tweeted out that we got featured in the Garmin Connect store, and then he responded to that. And then I'm like looking into this guy, like who's this guy? Like I typically don't get that much engagement on the GoPolar account, Instagram, on the GoPolar Instagram account. And I go to his profile, and it says inventor of the Garmin Connect store. So this guy, and then I never had a call with him, but we just chatted over DMs, and learned a bit about him. He has like the team is like very lean, but he started basically the Garmin App Store, and handles all like the developer docs and submissions and all that stuff. And so once I learned that, I was like, okay, they don't have too many resources on this specific team, clearly, because it's like I imagine he's like a team of like 10 on the specific developer side. Garmin as large is obviously like a huge company, but for this specific use case of like submitting applications, I think they don't put too much resources in there. The other thing is when you submit an app, so we submit GoPolar, we'll submit like updates and stuff. There's no review process, and so like Apple, you go in, you submit it. There's a real life tester. It takes like 24 to 48 hours before you get approved or rejected. For Garmin, after the first approval, which is when your app first goes on, you can submit any update and it will just get approved and shipped to your users.
Oh, no way.
So your app could like be broken
Yeah.
if you didn't do, thorough testing, and that would just get shipped after the first approval. So again, there's just like a lot of interesting decisions on the platform.
That's interesting.
But it took us maybe like a month or so. It took us longer to build the app, and for the purpose of this video, actually, AI tremendously helped us because the language that you write Garmin apps is called Monkey C, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Monkey C.
No. That's the language? So is that the equivalent of like with Apple? What's the equivalent?
Yeah, so Apple is like, I guess it's like Swift.
Right.
Objective C would be like the earlier one, but the problem with Monkey C for us was mainly that there's just not many apps other than Garmin apps because it's specific to Garmin language, and then you just don't get that many developers using this language, right?
Wow.
And so if you go into the Garmin App Store and you go into like whatever the top apps are, and you go to the developer profile, those developers have like 50 apps. And it's interesting, like they probably built their entire business off of just like Garmin apps. And there's a lot of like successful Garmin apps. I just don't think a lot of them are really good. A lot of them tend to be like watch faces, mostly all like one-time payments, which is fine. Goat Polar is also a one-time payment in the Garmin store, mainly because I think there's also a pretty big aversion to subscription there. But yeah, so anyways, to answer your question, AI helped us with building the Goat Polar watch app for Garmin, definitely. But the process to get on the store wasn't too hard, other than just like navigating a lot of unknowns and figuring things out randomly.
Oh man, that's cool. That's very interesting. So, would you consider yourself technical or non-technical now?
Yeah, I still consider myself non-technical, but I guess savvy enough to use some of the AI tools. If you were to ask me, and I've shipped features on our products, on our iOS apps. I still don't know Swift really, but I'll use AI enough to know that the thing is working. UI stuff I can pretty clearly do now. Front end stuff I can pretty easily do just using the AI tools and not knowing the languages, which I wasn't able to do like almost a year ago. I wasn't really confident in doing it, to be honest. Like my co-founder and iOS engineer would do primarily all of the coding, and now I'm instead of bugging them for like pixel perfection stuff that I have, I'll just go in and change some stuff. Shipping new like screens as well, I'll be able to do that, which is cool. And yeah, so I still consider myself non-technical, but it's cool that I can now actually like contribute to more product stuff.
Yeah, it definitely empowers you now to have all these tools, and I think as long as you're nimble enough to continually play with them and understand what works for you, you just have the ability now to deliver.
Yeah.
Right?
The other I guess like interesting part was, as a non-technical person and founder, I have a like better understanding of like what it takes now to introduce a new feature, and I guess less blind spots than I would have prior to playing around with these AI tools and like shipping new features. So that's definitely been a nice perspective to have. And yeah, just I think also like helps my co-founder, because now we can like split up some work if needed, or I don't have to pull him from whatever he's heads down on.
So what specific AI tools are you using?
I use a bunch for, obviously, because there are so many tools. for what I do. And then my co-founder also uses some other tools, but I can get into that. So my stack for iOS right now is I'll use Cursor primarily, and Cursor with sometimes on auto mode, mostly on Claude 4.5. But my co-founder uses Claude Code all the time. I spend a lot of my time mostly in Figma, and also just thinking about the product and introducing smaller, less back-end intensive features.
Got it.
I use Cursor for iOS stuff. I use ChatGPT a lot. It's very basic, but I talk to Chat a lot, every day pretty much. And I find I like that experience because I use Chat almost like a kind of like a thought partner, almost kind of like a co-founder in the sense of like my thoughts and what I'm thinking about, things that I don't need to go to my co-founder and actually like talk them through. So content related stuff would be like ElevenLabs for doing voiceovers for if we're making a video, for example, or Suno, a big fan of Suno for work and also personal. Just like making music, it's so fun.
So these are all paid subscriptions. So for example, ElevenLabs and then as well as Suno.
Yeah.
Are you on month to month?
I'm on just the monthly plan because I don't use them all the time, but I will use it if I'm working on a specific project. Right now, I'm on monthlies. Now, my old flow was going to YouTube and searching, vlog music or copyright-free music and just downloading a 3-hour duration, like MP3, and then putting that in the vlog. Now I can actually like get specific. And so what I do is I will talk to ChatGPT and ask for a prompt. We can show it as well. I have one that I did recently. All right, I just posted this video and I needed I wanted a intro song for the vlog. And so some context is this was an interview that I did with a centenarian and I posted that on my YouTube channel. But I wanted music for it. And so this is a very basic prompt. I want a prompt for Suno for my Sri Lanka interview with the centenarian. And I'm being pretty vague here because I've talked in other chats about this. And so Chat actually has the memory of what this is about. If I didn't have this, I would be pretty specific. And then I gave a very basic explainer of like something mountainy, maybe cultural to set the mood. And it's going to be instrumental. Again, this is like I'd give it like a B- prompt, but it had some context and I wanted to just get a quick output. And so this is the output here that GPT gives me. Create an instrumental piece inspired by the mountains of Sri Lanka, gentle, meditative, and cultural, etc. And so it gives me a decent prompt here. This is a way better prompt than this, right? And then I can go further and like make it better. I gave it additional context here that I want it to be something a bit more upbeat. And then I got this prompt here. And then I just went to Suno, which I will share here. Okay, so this is Suno. I'm just in the create tab, and then I will basically just paste the prompt in here and then hit create. And they have an instrumental section here, or a toggle here. And then I'll hit create, and then I'll just get I'll get 2 outputs of versions of what Suno creates for me. And I can obviously pick from there or make modifications to the prompt and get another sound. But I mean, Suno is incredible. I think it's the best music generator that I've played with. You could even get more specific, but in this case I just did instrumental because it was good and short, and then I just dumped that into CapCut and shipped the video. So again, this is like a small example, but use this pretty much anytime I'm creating content.
That's amazing. Yeah. So that's the audio side of it. What about the visual side of your workflows?
Yes. Okay. So we recently had a launch video, or I guess a waitlist launch video for Tempo, the app we talked about earlier. And I'll walk you through how I used AI for that, because I basically simplified the process from start to the shipped video. So the first step was actually talking with, stop this here. The first step was talking to ChatGPT to identify what concept I wanted. And so I would have a conversation with Chat, and actually maybe I could share this again. If I just got to find the thread. Centenarian. I'm going to just pull up a screenshot Okay, let me redo that part from your question where you
Yeah.
said, "Tell me about the visual stuff." Okay, I will share this. Screen here. Okay, so I basically went through the process of using AI to create this waitlist launch video. And the way I did it was one, I was using ChatGPT to walk through the concept that I wanted. And so I landed on this one here, which it was called A Letter to My Younger Self. And the core idea was a 100-year-old grandpa, which is the future version of me, opens up a notebook and writes a letter to his younger self, thanking him for all the healthy things that he did. And so that was the core idea. Older version of me, younger version of me. The younger version of me is doing all these healthy things. And then the older version, the 100-year-old man, is showing gratitude towards that. And so that was the concept we landed with. And ChatGPT helped me outline it. Basically, think of this as the prompt, and then GPT creating this whole structure and script for me. And obviously I went back and refined it further. But the cool part was, after getting the script, what I did was asked Chat to create actual stills. So this is an example here. I went through and I wanted to storyboard this whole video before we actually made the thing. And so that's what I did. I just have a prompt here that says, while I make the storyboard, I need some stills, sketches drawn by hand for the scenes. For example, a sketch of Grandpa sitting outside of a bench writing in a notebook. And then I just got GPT to create this image for me. And then using that same style, I went through and created a bunch of other stills that I would then use to put into a video. And the reason I was doing this was just to get clear on the idea, see if it makes sense, and then also just refine the shots that we would eventually film in real life. And so the output of that, we can cut this. I'll just go straight to so the output of that ended up looking like this. This is just a screen recording from my CapCut, but I just put all the stills, as you can see in the bottom, and then went through. Oops, my screen went away. One sec. And then so the output of that was this video here, which is just a bunch of stills from GPT generated, that GPT generated, and I put them in a timeline and then put an audio track with the voiceover, and then made call it the MVP of the launch video. And so that's what you're seeing here. Again, just a bunch of stills with the voiceover.
Oh, wow.
Does my sound come through?
No sound.
Okay, no problem. But yeah, you get the idea here. It's about 20 stills, and then I just tell the story of the launch. We then, after that, refined it, got the shots that we wanted, and then went out and actually filmed the thing. But I was able to create the voiceover with AI using ElevenLabs, create the soundtrack with Suno, and create the stills with GPT.
So you did the audio first then, or at least a portion of the audio first?
That's right. So I had the script, which I had, let me scroll down here. I had this script essentially. And I wrote this out and I broke it down and I copy and pasted this into ElevenLabs. So this is my voiceover to the younger man I once was. Thank you for all those little choices you made. And then I just I just made that into a little script and then pasted that in ElevenLabs. And then I can probably show this here.
And to come up with that copy in the script, are you also using GPT, or are you a copywriter as well?
No, I'm not a copywriter. I was using GPT, and then I would tweak stuff that felt like GPT-like. But GPT helped get me there to like 90%, I would say, and inspired like a lot of the ideas as well. So in ElevenLabs, it's cool because I just do text to speech and then, oh, here, I still have it pasted.
Oh, nice.
Here's the script, basically. And I would pick my voice. In this case, I think I can't remember if I found a voice in the library or I created one, but they have a huge library here that you can just pick. And so let's type grandpa, for example. Okay, so they have a grandpa voice here, so I could pick that, adjust the speed, fine tune it for the video that I know I want to make, and then hit generate, and then I'll get an MP3 of this voiceover that sounds like a real person. And that's exactly what I did. And then I took that voiceover and then put it into CapCut to edit the video that you see here.
Nice.
Yeah. And we ended up using funny enough, the same voiceover from this demo video. We changed a couple words or cut a couple words, but it was the same generated AI voice, which is pretty cool. So, yep.
That's amazing. I love seeing this process. This is cool because I haven't seen anyone do it the way you did, and I like it because your finished product is really nice. I'm gonna put that in the comments below for people to check out. I really like the video. Like, it hits me in the feels, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And then I can see Jason commented. Did that work? Did that go through yet?
Yeah. So he sent this, and then he wanted to. I sent him a tutorial of like how I did this, sort of like how I just explained it here, and then he talked about it on his podcast.
Oh, really? And so
yeah.
Founder Uni is his community, or it's like a...
It's like his 12-week program. When I was at launch, I actually used to work on this.
Wow.
But it's like, I guess it's 10 weeks now. But 10-week program, you go through it if you're building a product, and then by the end of it, you have something shipped, and you either are trying to get this 25K or 125K investment from them. But yeah, that was... They have a lot of It's basically an education product, but
cool.
It's free if you want to build something. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. This is amazing. Yeah. I really respect your process here. That's super cool.
Yeah. It was really helpful, honestly, like the idea part, and then just, I'm a visual learner and I get all my ideas visually. And so I needed to storyboard it out to like see what we would actually make.
That's crazy. And then on the other piece of things where you're building out your iOS app, you have the experience when you open that app of everything I see. Are you the one designing that as well?
Yes. And this is for like all of our apps, or any specific one you're talking about?
Tempo, for example.
Okay. Yep.
I think Tempo, for example, when I used it last, it was a very beautiful experience when I opened the app and everything I see. I would love for you to walk me through how you came up with that, how you use these tools to build that experience.
Yeah. It's a great question. So yeah, I with AI, it becomes a little bit. I mean, there's two things. You can use AI to like go deep into craft, or you can use AI to like ship something that's like decent, right? And so the way I think about it now is, because AI is so accessible and now a lot of people can make a lot of things, there tends to be a lot of slop, as you see. But the other end of that is like, because you have these incredible tools, now you can go deeper down the rabbit hole and like pay and put in so much more energy into craft and design and just experiential stuff that wow people. And so that's what I try to do now with all our apps. And Tempo, an example is with our Tempo landing page. I wanted a fun experience that would inspire you to, or inspire you or get you excited about the iPhone app that we haven't launched yet, but we will be, right? And so I can start with, I guess, how we built the landing page and how we thought about that. That might be fun.
Yeah.
So let me share my Figma, actually, because this started in Figma, which I love Figma. I don't actually use the AI features in Figma, and we can talk about that. I personally don't think they're amazing, and I haven't, I guess, truthfully, I haven't explored them deeply enough to give a full review on it. But let me share my screen here. Okay, so here I'm in my Figma. I'm in the landing page or section of Figma, and here you can just see I'm like running through a bunch of different ideas. So it starts off with inspiration. So I saw this landing page, someone posted on Twitter, and I liked this rounded hero section, or rounded, like this is the website itself. Like this is not part of the screenshot, this border here that you see. And so I like the idea, like a contained, rounded kind of hero section. And that inspired this, which is a screenshot, or I guess a still from our video that we filmed for Tempo. And I was thinking there could be a fun experience where we make the website a bit like, we make the website interactive. And so this is a video, and so I was thinking, like, how can we make it like maybe based off the user's scroll, the video plays, or they can scrub forward and backward. And so that was the initial idea, and that's what this was, like an early version, early mock-up, which just has my video here. I think that, yeah, this is a video here. So if I basically go and hit play, this should play. And again, this is kind of just to give myself a demo of what the experience might look like. Yeah, so here you see the video plays, the numbers increase, and then you have this text here, call to action, etc. So this was an early version. And then I played around with it, and then I kind of I decided I want to go forward with this. And so I needed to build this, and I needed to build it quickly. And again, I'm non-technical, and so I was always going to either use maybe Cursor or one of these platforms to build it. And I ended up using Lovable. I don't know, Suri, if you played around with Lovable much. I know you've.
I have, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But I have not done anything that combines Figma to Lovable. So this is very interesting.
Okay, cool. So I'm in Lovable right now, and you can actually see the working version of the site here. But for the purpose of this demo, pretend nothing exists here, and then I just started in Lovable in the window, just saying this prompt. And this is a pretty meaty prompt. I use GPT to fine tune this and make it a really, really detailed prompt. So you can see I start off with the goal of what I want, and it's basically going and explaining I want this landing page to have a scrub feature. I uploaded this MP4 video, which is about 4 seconds long, and when a user scrolls, I want the video to also progress. And then I go down and explain further details of like how this feature and interaction should work. And so I have the main container, and again, this is GPT is basically guiding the way here. I talk about the layout structure, main container, the video, and I gave it the names that I actually wanted to use, so it didn't have to go and make assumptions. So my video was actually called tempo-score.mp4, and then I had uploaded that into Lovable before this prompt, so it had all the assets that I needed. Background image, it's got that. I wanted some sort of film grain on it. It added that. Typography, the CTA button, and then the interactions here it's also got. And so again, very detailed prompt. And the crazy part is, sorry, that it basically one-shotted it. It got me to pretty much 90% after this single prompt.
That's incredible.
The thing I will say that 10% took me like a couple days because I got hit with a bug, and I'll actually it might be, I don't know if it might be too long to show, but I can just share the context of what I ended up doing.
Sure.
So Lovable got me to 90, like I said, 90%. Everything was working. I had one bug though, which was like here you'll see if I scroll, the video plays, and the pop-up appears, etc. I had a bug on, it was either Chrome, I think it was Chrome. Even in the Lovable preview, it's a little laggy or a little buggy. So this works perfectly on the scroll down, but if I scroll up, it kind of jitters to the top, as you just saw. And so I wanted to figure out what that bug was. I tried so hard in Lovable, and I wasn't getting anywhere, unfortunately. And so the cool thing about Lovable is you can ship it to GitHub. And so I connected it to my GitHub. And so it created the repo here, and I can click into that. But why this was important for me was now I have Cursor as well. And so I basically used Cursor to open up this repo. And now I have all the code. Lovable, it's hard to make, like now you can, they actually do have a feature where you can see the code inside of Lovable, but it's harder to make like useful changes inside of here. And so I'd rather make the changes in Cursor and have full control over the code, especially in the debugging phase that I was in. And so anyways, what I did was I connected it to my GitHub, I opened the project in Cursor, and then now Cursor, I am using Claude 4.5, and I'm just trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. And within 10 minutes, the magic of Cursor or Claude, figured out what the issue was. It was basically some encoding issue on my video. And so I re-encoded the video in Cursor itself, like Cursor prompted me to use my terminal and did the whole thing for me. I didn't even have to
Interesting.
Re-encode it.
So you got like good success by bringing the code to GitHub, and then from GitHub bringing it locally, and then using something like a Cursor, with something with terminal access to take care of the problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing.
The terminal access, I could have done it myself by like asking, again, maybe going to chat and be like, how do I do this specific encoding? But Cursor just did it for me. And I was like, all right, click run. Took a minute or two, outputted the folder, and then outputted the new video essentially. And then I just went back into Lovable, hit refresh, and it was like magic. It ended up working. And so in preview, it's still a little buggy, but on the shipped published site, it should work fine. And then there's a couple other things, like we talked about craft and just creating a delightful experience. Like the app is about like being an AI companion and having having context of the user. And so I was like, what experience can we give to the user on the website? And so some basic ones, like the user's location. And so when they open up, I'm in Toronto, I see that I'm in Toronto. I see the local time, and then I see the weather. I thought that was just like a fun little, maybe, I don't know. My users wouldn't think it's creepy, but like I could see the angle of someone be like, oh, why do they have this information? But it's just IP based stuff. And so if you're using a VPN, it wouldn't even show the proper location. But
that's really cool.
It was just a fun little thing. And I did that. That was like one or two prompts in Lovable, which was cool. And so it added that. There's another one actually that I'll just talk about. So the morning of, the reason I love tools like this, the morning before I shipped this website just posted about it on my Twitter, I had another idea. And so literally like 10 minutes before I hit the send tweet button, I was like, there should be a fun experience after you submit or after you join the waitlist. And so I came up with the idea of putting like a breathwork experience after you hit join waitlist. And so I'll just put my email here and hit join. And then the spacing is a little off because of the window, but let me fix that. Oh, and I have this here. Oh, and this was another thing, I guess. I added custom messaging if they already entered it. Small thing, most people wouldn't even experience this, but if if you had entered your email twice, we wanted this to be there. So I'm going to do a new one.
Where does the email get stored when you submit?
So the cool thing about Lovable is it's got a direct integration with Supabase. And
Nice, okay.
we use Supabase as our backend as well for all of our apps. And so it just goes directly into our Supabase table under a waitlist table. So I'm going to hit join waitlist, and now we have this little breath work that it will just keep going on. It's just an ongoing loop.
That's nice.
But it's just a fun little thing, and tells you to breathe at the end, and kept it on brand for what the product will be about, living healthier essentially. So these are just fun little landing page things
really
that I
like
did
it.
with
It looks very
Figma
sharp.
to Lovable. Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing. I really like what you're doing in the health space. I think there aren't full ecosystems being properly built out and thinking it from like a user experience first. Everything that so far that exists has been very clunky, or it's hidden behind professionals, where there's a lot more people who are willing to take the plunge with we trust AI. We just want the ability to use it in a way where we can just manage all of our health, or measure our health at least. And so I got an interesting question for you and that is, how do you envision AI health coaching or wellness evolving with your personal data in the coming years?
Yeah, it's a great question. So already you talked about it even yourself. You have a folder that has context of your health, or you upload your VO2, for example, your blood test. And you already are starting to have that conversation with a ChatGPT or Claude, etc. And it's giving you good recommendations, right? I've even, when I was training for a marathon, based off of your suggestion, I think after you talked to me and told me how you trained for Kilimanjaro, I did a similar thing with training for a marathon on the nutrition side. And so I gave it my body weight, etc. I gave it a bunch of context of my health and asked it, what should my nutrition plan be? And so I think that works for a lot of the savvy people like yourself, myself, anyone who's used and gone deeper into like ChatGPT and AI tools. The missing part, or like the kind of gap that I see with why we want to build Tempo, is there's 500 million plus wearables that get sold annually right now, between like Apple Watches, Whoops, Auras, etc. On the Apple Watch side, a lot of the health information you just don't know exists, or how to use it effectively. And I think AI has the opportunity to now take that information and give you useful output. And so, an actual example of that is my mom wears an Apple Watch. My dad also wears an Apple Watch. They bought it because they want to do and be more healthy, which is great. But they don't really get new insights, new information by wearing it. And so Tempo, we want it to be like a Tempo, or AI in general. We want that layer to be super integrated with your health. And so my parents can actually like see what, get information like, and see that they should probably go for a long walk today because they haven't been moving much, for example. They can see how their heart health is, and maybe, look at a 5-10 year picture of what their current habits might lead them to, for example, and then maybe that will make a more immediate change. So these are things I think AI will generally help with, because it just has this data, and it is about building a useful, fun experience around it. And so that's what we kind of want to do with Tempo. The data already exists, but AI is just going to get even better. The insights are going to get even better. And now it's just like combining the two to make a fun experience for the consumer.
Yeah, I'm on board. I think building frameworks around the models is the best way to go. And as the models get better, you can just plug them in, right? And you'll have all the data already that your consumers will have their data uploaded, and so as the models get better, you'll be able to do more.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think AI is super powerful, and then we already have the data. It's just building a really unique experience around it.
When do you think you'll launch?
So we want to do, right now we are sending out invites to test flight, and these are people that have just signed up on our website. So if you sign up on the jointempo.app site, you will get added to the test flight, and we're doing them in batches just because we want to control the experience and make it really perfect for when we do launch, we're thinking.
Okay.
So
very soon.
Yeah, pretty soon. And it's going to be the V1. There's going to be a lot of stuff we need to fix, but I think we'll get there, and it should be a fun experience when we do launch.
That's amazing. Presh, I really appreciate your time. How can people find you?
Yeah, X is probably the best. So x.com/PreshDKumar. And yeah, feel free to hit me up in DMs, and happy to chat with anyone.
Amazing. One bonus question.
Yeah.
What's your mouse and keyboard of choice?
Oh, okay.
What are you using?
So mouse is, what is this? MX Anywhere 3, the Logitech. Yeah, Logitech MX Anywhere 3. I just like I just like how it fits in my hand. It's like, for me, it's kind of the perfect size. And keyboard is nothing special. Magic keyboard. I used to have a mechanical keyboard. Okay, maybe you know the name of this. Do you know what this is?
That's Keychron.
Yes.
Nice. I have one as well.
K2.
K2, yes.
Yeah, K2.
I have the K3.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's that looks very sleek. Yeah, this one looks like
60%.
This one you could kind of like break some objects with. It's like a very heavy.
I love keyboards. I love mechanical keyboards.
It's fun. I did get into it a lot. You use the K2 as your main.
I use the
K3.
the K3 as my main. It's okay. It disconnects a lot, to be honest. I would prefer to be plugged in.
Yeah.
When it's plugged in, it works well. But I do have a much nicer keyboard that I haven't used in years because the port broke. I actually built it. It's maybe like
nice.
It's at least 10 pounds because it's like solid steel, like the base. It's really nice to type into.
Yeah.
But ever since I moved to Mac,
yeah,
I don't have that many USB ports anymore. So it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Presh, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to put all the links at the bottom in the comments for everybody. And yeah, I really appreciate what you're building, and I can't wait to try it out.
Thanks, Harry.
Have a good one.
See ya.